It's a one-point win for the New York Knicks. Hi, I'm Scott Van Pelt here in the Garden, and you were watching at home. We were watching here. We all watched the same thing, and nobody can figure out how the hell it happened. The context will be provided throughout the hour. We'll visit with OG Anunoby in a moment. The evening looked like it was headed 2-2. The series going back to San Antonio, best 2 out of 3. This young Spurs team in its 22nd playoff game had a 41-point first quarter. Couldn't have shot better. They looked great. A million things go wrong for them. It's a 58-30 second half. And a joy in this building and in this city that hasn't been seen since 1973. To the highlight of Game 4. The Garden was a little on edge after the Spurs won Game 3. And early on in this one, Karl Anthony Towns had picked up an early foul. And then here, as he drives for an and one, no. All right, he's going to the line for a couple. But you see that hook of the arm? The Spurs challenge. And it's his second foul, the fastest player to have 2 fouls in a finals game since 1998. So one of their most impactful players has to go to the bench early. And the Spurs came out, as they so often do, the first team in the history of the finals to have a 10-point lead in the first quarter in the first 4 games. There's Wembanyama doing his thing. It's a 15-point lead. Now Wemby going to work. Off glass, bucket good. On the other end, as he's giving Robinson an earful, says, I'm in your head, and Robinson's had about enough of that. That turns into a flagrant one. Wemby says, I am in your head. It's a 41.0 turnover, 9 assists first quarter. As close to clinically perfect as basketball can be played. San Antonio's doing everything right. Up 21. Here off the scramble, the kick. Devin Vassell buries the 3, and that is not the look you'll see on Spike Lee's face when he's with me later in the show. How about the young 20-year-old Dylan Harper? Spectacular. His impact remarkable at this stage of a rookie career. 14 threes in the first half, most in a half by a team in finals history. So they're making history of the right kind from the Spurs perspective in the first half here. About 9 1/4 to go in the third. Wemby and Cat get tied up. And that's a flagrant foul on Wembanyama. That's up to 3. If he gets one more flagrant, he'll be suspended because he had a flagrant 2 earlier in the playoffs. But it's 81-56. How big a deal is any of this? All right, well, Brunson gets a 3. Larry Davis, no, go away. Mark Shapiro, I'm not interested. Leave me alone. We're getting trucked. Well, 90-72. All right, OG Anunoby step back in a friendly roll. 15-point game. Can they get it to single digits? That was the question Stanford Steve and I were asking one another. He thought they could. All right, let's see. There's Cat. Hits the 3, hits the deck. Play on, no foul called. It's a 12-point game. And now can they get to that threshold and make it a single-digit game and make this building really alive? Yes, it's now down to 9. Brunson with the right hand off the glass. Remember, they erased a 22-point fourth-quarter deficit against Cleveland earlier this year. Adam Sandler roaring. Now it's a corner 3. OG Anunoby, all 3 of these. And now Taylor Swift in the building. Everybody is roaring that's cheering for the Knicks. On the other end, this felt like a big shot at the moment as it pushed the lead back to 7 from Wembanyama. But then, something we wondered if we could see because they're just not very big. Brunson and Alvarado playing together, and Alvarado buries the 3. And it's a 4-point game, under 2.5 to go. That familiar organ in the Garden has everybody roaring. Now they're chaining defense after the 3 from Brunson, who went for 36 on the other end. It's a turnover. Here comes Hart in transition. New York leads. No! They don't lead. He misses the bunny. How could it be? I'm good. I'm good. You can't miss that one, Josh. On the other end, Wembanyama down the lane. No, he'll go to the line for a couple. And my man Action Bronson said to me, it was 10 on the Richter scale when he went to the line. Misses the first. He's an excellent free throw shooter. He misses a pair. On the other end, can New York push their nose out in front? Brunson floater is good. And under 1.5 minutes to go. Now Larry David's ready to cheer. On the other end, Fox, no, and there's Stephon Castle fouled. on the rebound. He made 2 huge free throws late in game 3. Steps to the line, and this young man's expression never changes, and you're not going to rattle him. That's Cash. 1-point lead for the Spurs. 30.3 to go, and now New York on the other end. Brunson with a miss, and it's a mad scramble. De'Aaron Fox don't need a shot. He takes it to the rim anyway, and OG Anunoby gets the block. New York comes the other way. Clock running down. They gave the foul, not a backcourt, although it was close. Foul called on Fox right there. They had the 1 foul to give. So now off the inbound. It's Brunson from deep. No, Wembanyama's out there to challenge the shot. There's nobody on Anunoby, and he gets the tip in. Those are the 32nd and 33rd points for this young man that is ascending into superstar status in these finals as he soars to get a right hand on it and a soft tip. And the roar in this building is hard to describe, but they still had to survive the inbound. And it looks like Cat maybe got a fingertip on it. Stephon Castle couldn't catch it cleanly. And it's bedlam. It's bedlam in Madison Square Garden as New York erases a 29-point deficit. It's the largest comeback in the history of the finals. They have a 3-1 series lead heading to San Antonio.
It's a pleasure to welcome to the Volkswagen post-game report the man of the moment, the man who's got New York City in the palm of his hands. It's OG Anunoby. And OG, when you sat down, you and I kind of looked at each other and shrugged. How do you make sense of this scene and your role in creating it?
Just staying with it, you know. Our team's super mentally tough, resilient, you know, we're battle-tested. We've been through a lot. And, you know, we were down 29, but it was still positive, you know. No one getting down, no one getting mad. Just staying with it, knowing it's a game of runs, knowing we were going to go on our own run.
Yeah, but my card here says 71-42. That's the score. And I understand staying with it, but at some point, that's a hill to climb that seems perhaps not climbable tonight. At what point do you guys really begin to sense we can win this game tonight?
I mean, we thought so even when we were down.
Okay.
We weren't thinking about punting the game. We were like, stay with it, get it down to 18, get it down to 12, get it down to 10, get it down to 6, stay with it, keep pushing.
In the fourth quarter, the noise, it starts amplifying. How much do you sense that this very talented Spurs team is starting to really feel the weight of this building and the force that you all are bringing?
I mean, I think they felt it. I mean, we have the best fans in the world. They're in it no matter what. When we were down, they were still with us, supporting us. You know, they're always going to be loud and into the game, so I think it definitely had like effect.
I kidded the other night when I spoke with Dylan Harper. I asked him, I said, you ever seen Steph Castle smile? He said, never. And I said, I feel like when I watch you and him play, you're two very talented, very serious dudes. I saw a smile when you and Spike hugged each other.
Yeah.
What joy do you allow yourself, understanding that, as the late, great Kobe Bryant said, the job's not finished, but with what you just did, you're much closer than you would have been otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you win a game, you got to celebrate. You got to enjoy the small victories, you know, even though we have our main goal of winning 4. So just enjoying it for now, but I mean, tomorrow, back to work, watching the film, practice, preparation, getting ready for Game 5.
It's the greatest comeback in the history of the finals, down 29, and it's your tip in with 1.2 on the clock that give the margin that's the victory. What happens in that play? I mean, it's Jalen doing his thing, and then you crash, I guess. What do you see? What happens in that moment?
Jalen got a good shot, and I just crashed, came in, tried to get a tip in, and I did.
I'm looking to see, is there a body on 8? Nope. So it's a fairly clean tip. It's as loud a roar as I've heard in a long time. What goes through the body in a moment like that? Understanding there's still time on the clock, but like, oh my gosh, we're up.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know how much time was on the clock initially, so I had to look up, and once I saw those time, like, calm down, let's get a stop now. Let's get a stop and win the game.
You've become such a gigantic piece of this New York team. How has your confidence grown? It seems to me, even throughout this playoff run, and particularly this finals run, where it's obvious that you are becoming a force that is really difficult to bargain with.
Just being aggressive, trusted in my work. My teammates trusted in me. My coaches trusted in me. They see the work I put in. You know, they know I care about this a lot. I put in a lot of work, and it's been showing.
I don't know if you are aware of the joy that's happening around me. And I mean, it's A-listers in all direction, and that doesn't matter. They're people just like all the rest of us, right? But I mean, it's bedlam. It's all the vets. They're going bananas. People are like almost in tears. I mean, what's your ability to participate in that as it's happening when the clock hits zeros?
I mean, everyone's excited right now. Everyone's excited right now. It's pretty cool. It's an amazing moment. You can enjoy it for now, but like I said, we gotta get ready for Game 5. You know, come out. We don't want to be down 29 again. So clean up the stuff that got us down 29, try to prevent it from happening, and move on.
I'm seeing those smiles creep onto your face tonight, and they certainly should. I mean, you see the joy right there, and it's profound. I mean, this city is not easily impressed, man, but just walking around over these past couple of days, the sense of what you all are close to giving them is remarkable, but the job's not done, and I know the work will continue as you take the trip down to Texas. Thanks for taking time after what was an incredible night, man. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Thanks, man. Appreciate that a lot.
Cool to have that young man sit down in the midst of all of it. Again, the context here, it's the largest comeback in the history of the finals. It's the largest halftime comeback in the history of the playoffs any round. And Brunson and Anunoby are the first New York Knicks duo to have 30-plus in the same NBA Finals game. Brunson was excellent here tonight as well. Missed that shot that OG tipped in, but here's Brunson on the night as the Knicks are a win away from a title.
One word that captures that all is just believe. Just believing in each other, believing in the process, chipping away one possession at a time. It wasn't going to be one play to get us back. It wasn't going to be one momentum play, but it was just hitting singles, getting on base, just keep chipping away.
Experience teaches you a lot, and I think experience today let us know that we cannot let go of the rope. We always have a chance if we go out there and take it to another level and give ourselves a chance. You know, all you can ask for after the half we had is we just wanted a chance. And, you know, sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you make your luck. We made our luck today.
You got to have a little luck in life. You got to have a little luck in sports. But you can also go make your own luck too. So you got to have some natural luck, and then you got to have some luck where you're going to make your own luck. And that was probably the biggest message. Long time to play still. We got to get a little lucky. But let's do what we do so we can make some of that luck happen.
This game was crazy. Like I said, you know, I got a special shout out, you know, for OG, man, because he saved me, at least for this game, a lifetime of, you know, regret. So, yeah, man, shout out to him.
Hard to overstate how different the first and second halves were, but this graphic certainly does a pretty good job of it. After a 41-point first quarter and a 76-point first half, they had 30 in the second half. 46 fewer than the first, where they were shooting the lights out and got off to yet another great start. But it all dissolves, and now the Spurs find themselves in a big, big spot of bother. Here's Wembanyama on what went wrong tonight.
Can you just explain how that thing fell apart in the fourth quarter?
I think it began before that.
Third row on the left.
Can't really explain it right now. I don't know. I think it's just, execution, greediness of some sort. We clearly weren't the most hungry in the second half.
Victor, obviously this is very painful. What's going through your mind right now?
What's going through my mind right now, I think it's going to go one of two ways. One of two ways. And a bad one and a good one. And I know the bad one would be giving up. The good one would be getting stronger through this, getting more together. And I know this is what we're going to do.
Last row, Mark.
Victor, Mark Spears, ESPN SC. Can you just talk about the emotions in the locker room afterwards and just what was going through your mind as you walked off the floor?
I don't know about the emotions, but it was painful, of course. It feels like we worked too hard and give up our leads, you know, just as simple as that. It's just.
You're a filmmaker. You tell stories on film. As they sing New York, New York.
Frank Sinatra.
This night tonight is a story too hard to believe. You had the best seat in the house.
Well, one of them. This is a team of destiny. A team of destiny. We haven't won the ring since 1973.
Right.
99, but this is amazing. And this is the thing. This is New York City. We don't quit.
No.
We do not quit. We can easily turn it up and say, let's go down to Texas. We said, hell no, this game is not over, and we're gonna win. And we did it. We did it. We did it. We did it.
A 32-16 fourth quarter. And this place isn't going home.
Nobody's left.
No.
The party's just begun.
At what point, Spike, look, you can say we don't quit, and they didn't, but at what point do you really begin to entertain in your New York Knicks heart of hearts, they might win this game tonight?
I'm not going to lie. It was kind of shaky.
It's 71-42, Spike. It had to be shaky.
That's real shaky. But this team, they doesn't quit. Leon Rose put it together. Worldwide West, Coach Mike Brown, my man John Turturro right here. We're happy.
I saw John tonight. John, it's good to see you. Congratulations.
New York, I bet they're going crazy. Staten Island, the Bronx, Manhattan, Queens, and the People's Republic of Brooklyn, New York.
But Spike, this place is celebrating tonight, and it should.
Yes.
You got to get one more. What's the
cat's in the bag and the bag's in the river. They're dead.
Would you say the cat's in the bag and the bag's in the river?
Yeah.
That's some New York stuff, man.
It's from a film. I just forgot what it is.
Understood.
They're crying that locker room.
Right.
That locker room is like a morgue.
Yeah.
But they can hear us out here. They can hear us out here celebrate. New York is on fire.
Hold on, listen. They're going to get to the chorus here. I mean, if I can make it here, I can make it anywhere.
Frank!
They're miking up OG Anunoby. I would never boot you out of your seat, Spike.
I'm out. I get pregnant. No.
Spike, hey, Spike, I would tell you to enjoy your night. I don't know if his mic fell off. It's fine. Spike Lee. You picked a good time to crash the finals, didn't you? So it's 27 at the half. I see you back there, and we're just talking about, man, this Spurs team, they come out of the gates flying, make a bunch of shots. They're showing us a lot. How did this happen?
Historic shooting display in the first half. We were talking about it back there. You come out, for me, it all began with the Spurs mentality offensively at the start of the third quarter. When you're that hot, everybody on the roster has a heat check to start the second half. The problem is that well dried up. And I thought that stretch for the Knicks kept them alive. If the Spurs continue to get points in the paint, get something at the rim, more balance in their offense, that lead might stay in that 25-30 range. I thought that gave the Knicks a window to start to chip away. Still, you're talking about walking that whole thing down. I don't think anybody in this building thought they could walk the whole thing down.
No, and as I'm watching back there with Stanford Steven, you've sat in the room with us as we watch these games, and you know the conversations we have. Did they get it to single digits? Can they get it there? And it gets to 9, and you're like, all right. And then it gets to 5, and then it gets to 4, and then the Garden starts finding that extra gear, and the weight of it all seemed to wear on San Antonio, and the will of New York. It was the combination of all of these things. You have to have the dominoes fall perfectly for history to happen. It seemed that's what all of it was.
You've got to take that first big bite when you're down that much just to give yourself some hope and belief. They started to do it, and for the first time, this building got into the game because they were taken out of it completely
yeah.
with the way the San Antonio Spurs played. So now the combination of, hey, you know what? This is actually doable with the crowd getting into the game. And what you saw from that point, a couple of things. One, Jalen Brunson got loose for the first time in the series, and he said the other day he was closer than people think. The shooting percentages hadn't been there, but he said, I'm getting to my spots. It's a matter of time. That time was tonight. So now he starts to get going, and the San Antonio Spurs at the same time, I thought, got a little unsure of themselves offensively. And it's a very young team. Where do they want to go with the ball? What do they want to do? How could they execute down the stretch to get the shots they want? They weren't able to do it. And the Knicks just felt then, with about 6 minutes to go, that they actually could pull this off.
And the fact that they have a 22-point comeback on the fourth against Cleveland, I mean, they've seen it, and they've figured out ways to win. That's what Brunson always says, find a way, find a way. Well, they find a way, and San Antonio participates in giving them a lane, perhaps. I was curious about Fox, who is a veteran, taking it to the bucket after they get that steal late. Didn't have to have that bucket, right? I mean, you could have pulled it out. And that whole end sequence, a lot happens, but he didn't need to try to take that bucket that got blocked at the rim.
Well, that he also took a pull-up jumper with 33 seconds to go that I think people might be questioning. But in that one, I'm understanding you're down one, you take a quick shot. That means you don't have to foul. You still could get one more stop with a timeout, advance the ball in a one-point game potentially. So I understand that shot. I think people are going to be questioning the San Antonio Spurs decision-making down the stretch offensively, but really none of this matters if Jalen Brunson doesn't get hot and OG Anunoby doesn't keep them alive and keep their head above water during that stretch before Brunson got hot, because they weren't getting a lot of contributions up and down their roster. This really was two guys carrying them offensively. So it's almost fitting. If they were going to win the game in that fashion, it was going to be OG Anunoby, because of the game he had start to finish. He was their rock tonight until Jalen Brunson could get it going in the second half.
He's a stoic guy, and I enjoyed the opportunity to visit with him. He's never going to sit here and be too chesty about any of it. But there are layers to things in this NBA. There's stars, and then there's superstars. I'm suggesting that Anunoby is entering true superstar status for the force and the weight of him on both ends of the floor, and what he forces you to deal with on both ends of the floor, and a fearlessness in moments this big. Am I overstating it? Am I just freaking out because he had 33 tonight?
No, because we've seen it now a number of times, and it's also the other end of the floor, what he's giving you. This is an all-league caliber defensive player, so he's always giving you that. Tonight, the offense for me, when Karl Anthony Towns gets those 2 fouls in the first minute of the game, OG Anunoby was the one guy that decided to take some responsibility for the offense. Mikal Bridges, quiet. Josh Hart wasn't really doing it. Jalen Brunson hadn't got going yet. It was OG Anunoby. Even though it was a 25-point game, it could have been 40 without the way he played.
We saw San Antonio celebrate a ton when they beat Oklahoma City in Game 7. And they, after the fact, said, you know, maybe that was a little much. And mostly tonight, it's Knicks alumni and the city that's going nuts. But I wonder, is New York collectively in danger of allowing tonight to be a celebratory moment that could impact the trip to San Antonio for Game 5?
I don't know, man, because they're so desperate. It's been so long. I think they understand that exact point. They know what this meant. This put them in position where now they know that they're going to have an opportunity. They don't have to win another game in San Antonio. That's what this meant. If they don't get this game tonight, they're going to have to get another road win at some point against a 62-win team in their building. That's what this meant, to climb all the way back and actually win the game. Now, look, you've got a Game 5 on the road. I'm sure they'd love to go close it out in 5. But now the safety net of knowing you can return home, and I think this city knows it, the crowd knows it. They're going to know the momentousness of that situation if they get back here. But first, you heard OG. He's saying, let's go on the road and close it out.
Yeah. You know, I'm smiling because this is our job and we get paid and we get to turn in per diem for this. Just it's absolutely criminal. Travel to be joined by Michael Wilbon and Stephen A. Smith. And Michael, I've allowed you to go first throughout this finals. Tonight, I'm going to ask you to defer to the man whose head is bowed, who's been trying to gather his thoughts and his poise as the New York Knicks down 71-42. Stephen A. are now a win away from title. The floor is yours. There's not a question. The floor is yours.
I thought it was over. I thought the New York Knicks were going back to San Antonio tied 2-2 with their heads bowed, having relinquished home court advantage to the San Antonio Spurs. I thought they were done for the night and possibly for the series. And then they kept scratching and clawing and coming back. I saw Jalen Brunson defer and cats weren't making shots, so he said, "The hell with it, I'm going to do it." And he dropped 36. I saw OG Anunoby saying, "Yo, I got your back. Everybody else might not be here for you offensively, but I'm going to be." I saw Alvarado come off the bench and give them a spark plug. My nephew Josh, I got to give him love and credit. He brought up Alvarado. I couldn't believe. I was like, "What the hell is wrong with you? I taught you basketball. What you bringing up Alvarado for?" And then, sure enough, he ended up being right. But I also saw the San Antonio Spurs be young, panic, rushing three-point shots, missing free throws, and to me, an egregious error with two things. Dylan Harper was flowing. He was in his bag. And you had Coach Johnson acknowledge that in game one, when you sat him down in the fourth quarter, you weren't going to do that again. And what did you do? You ended up doing that again.
No shots in the last 10 minutes.
And no shots in the last 10 minutes. And by the time you brought him back into the game, you disrupted his rhythm. And you're De'Aaron Fox. It's inexcusable. It's some of the worst point guard play. And I love De'Aaron Fox. It's some of the worst point guard play. You've got to make better decisions. You've got to calm the storm. These guys, everybody else around you is 22 years old, 21 years old, 20 years old. You're the experienced veteran. You got to know to pull that ball out. Yep. You got to make sure that you get if they foul you, you hit both free throws, pretty much the game's over. You don't put yourself in that position. He did, and the New York Knicks are 48 minutes away from an NBA championship for the first time in 53 years. The last shot, I'm going to say this last point. The last shot by the San Antonio Spurs, 1.2 seconds left on the clock. I did not see it. I actually prayed. I actually bowed my head, and I did not watch it. I saw the replay. I did not. I watched Cash going to basket. I didn't watch it.
The guard was going to tell you.
The guard was going to tell my heart stopped.
Yep.
I was in that panic mode because when OG put it back with 1.2 seconds left, I was so damn petrified that my heart would get broken, that somehow San Antonio would make a shot with the 1.2 seconds left.
Play.
Yeah, Castle just didn't catch it cleanly.
They ran a great play.
Right. If he does, they might have had to foul him again, and he hit two huge free throws at the end of game 3, and he hit two big free throws here tonight. Michael, two things can be true at once, and the Knicks deserve all the credit for every bit of what they did.
They did.
But they can't do what they did if San Antonio didn't give them the opportunity. What did San Antonio do tonight that you found so egregious?
It's the dumbest stretch of basketball at a championship level I've ever seen. The dumbest. One three-point shot after another three-point shot. Possession after possession after possession. They were 3 for 17 on threes in the second half after going 14 for 26. I understand the heat check early in the third, but then you get in a game, you're in a war, and you continue to do something you're failing at. You know what, Scott? They could have done the basketball equivalent of taking a knee and run the clock out and won this game.
Yeah.
Instead, with more than 10 seconds, double-digit time on the shot clock, they're hoisting threes. Wembanyama is hoisting threes. It was. I mean, it's the biggest choke I have seen in any sport at the championship level. I'm not talking about when it's a mismatch and a heavily favored team comes back. We're talking about a team that we think, all of us think, is going to win championships, plural, right? Mm-hmm. This is the franchise of Greg Popovich and Tim Duncan and just, brilliance, right, and competence all the way through its history.
Yeah.
And tonight, they put out the dumbest stretch of basketball I've ever seen. Sustained stretch.
Well,
right?
It's 58-30 for the second half, and you're right. After the brilliant shooting in the first half, I get, all right, we're going to keep pulling from deep because we're feeling it tonight.
For a while.
But then it was obvious that the basket was closed. Go ahead, Steve.
Let me throw this at both y'all. They go into the finals against the Miami Heat years ago when Ray Allen hit the shot. What happened? Tim Duncan's out of the game. Bosh rebounds, kicks it to Ray Allen. I know that's one play. What I'm saying is tonight, not taking anything. You're absolutely right. But this last play with the putback by OG Anunoby, what the hell is Wemby doing out on the perimeter? Guarding. You got three bodies in front of him. You got 3 bodies in front of him that OG snuck in and did the putback under. You got your 7'5" dude near the basket. That's a rebound you grabbing instead of him having a putback.
He's not even in the picture.
They say straight down Broadway in New York City. It's aptly described as just that. And all credit to Anunoby, hand up to as high as the square.
Anunoby and Brunson were as greater than San Antonio was awful. Yes. I mean, Anunoby and Brunson, look, they hung in there. It reminds me of a phrase from John Thompson. I bet he and John Chaney shared the phrase, son, just keep playing. And that's what Anunoby and Brunson did. They heroically kept playing. But in the meantime, I wonder, we'll find out later, like after the series is over, what they saw in San Antonio's eyes and what they were talking about privately on the bench. They may never reveal, because you know when your opponent is just inexplicably out of it. It's like they were punch drunk. To make that many mistakes coming out of timeout, Scott.
Yep.
They did one dumb thing after another.
Final word, Stephen A., because we're going to have to go, and you got to get some sleep because first take's coming.
No. I'm fine. I'll be fine for first take.
I know that. He's not coming with a fan. Believe me, I'm not worried.
Let me say this to you. You can get addicted when you're making shots. The way they were making shots in the first half. I know that. I agree with you. But they don't know that. They don't know that. You're evidently not, because they were doing
clearly
it.
Not.
And this is what the bottom line is. You go back to San Antonio 3-1, down 3-1. I don't know if San Antonio can recover from this, because that is such a devastating loss. To lose a 29-point lead in the NBA Finals.
It's both the greatest comeback and the most devastating collapse, both at the same time.
Correct. And you also, instead of it now being a best 2 out of 3 with 2 on your home floor, now you have to win all 3. Yes. And the math is not in San Antonio's favor. Stephen A. Smith, absolute delirium in the Garden. Jeremy Lin, Brian Windhorst alongside as we continue the conversation. And Jeremy, I'll start with you as the guy who got massive roars in here, as we know, during the peak of Linsanity and tonight. But if you could describe just the sound of this place in the last minute of real time, where would you even begin?
There's no words to be able to describe what happened. It is the most insane NBA Finals game, for sure, in history, and maybe the most insane NBA playoff game in NBA history. It's hard to describe. It's that euphoric, like blurry feeling where everything is just, you're not really processing everything, and it feels like a blur. And that's what the entire fourth quarter felt like for everybody in the arena.
Yeah, and I saw so much reaction, and mostly it felt like from Knicks alumni and the folks in the Garden who were out of their minds. Brian, you and I talked quite a bit about how the Spurs, frankly, in the rearview mirror, thought they spent a little too much energy celebrating when they beat OKC. I don't know if the Knicks are celebrating this tonight, but their fans in this building certainly are. You've seen a lot. What'd you see tonight?
Yeah, I don't blame them, because there's been 80 years of NBA basketball. There's been 58 years in this building. There's been 440 NBA Finals games. There's never been a game like this. There may never be another game like this. And I'm just going to tell you that OG Anunoby in this game had 2 moments within about 3 minutes of real time. Everyone's talking about this tip-in. Unbelievable.
What about the block on Fox?
Scott, both of those moments could be turned into statues. In fact, I suggest turning both of them into statues. You should have a double statue. Here's the first one, right there. And you can talk about whatever De'Aaron Fox did there. He'll probably live with that moment the rest of his life. OG Anunoby will live with this moment. This is a LeBron James-esque play here. It didn't happen in Game 7. And then he makes the tip, and those 2 things happen back-to-back within seconds. He may have just played one of the greatest halves in the history of the sport. He had 19 points. He was 7 of 9 shooting. He was 5 of 5 on threes. He makes those 2 things. He has great defense. And I want to say something else. Mike Brown was absolutely all over the place in the first half of this game. He played 12 players in the first 14 minutes. Frankly, he had no idea what he was doing.
Well, neither did his team. They're down 71-42.
In the fourth quarter, he puts Alvarado and Brunson in together. Jeremy, he'd never play them together. Yes. He didn't ever do that.
And it worked.
It worked like a charm brilliantly. I mean, like, it's a series of events that is truly unbelievable. People didn't want to leave the building. I don't blame them.
Jeremy, you've been so great in your brief time with us and giving us analytics and breaking down this and breaking down the other. I don't know that there's a forensic analysis that's necessary here. Sometimes it just feels like fate, emotion, a confluence of events. Is that a more apt description of tonight rather than, well, here they ran this one set?
Exactly. Scott, the word I'm using is fate. And even in the private conversations that we're having, I'm saying it's fate. It feels like you can't fight fate. It just feels like a team, a run of destiny. This is, again, to your point, Brian, this may never, ever happen again. And so, yeah, we can analyze, we can talk about this, and there's plenty of analysis to talk about, but at the end of the day, there's an it factor that this Knicks team has, and there is a not it factor that this Spurs team has. And when it comes down to it, that it factor to put you over the edge, whatever it is, whatever it takes, whoever it is, they get it done, they find a way to win.
This Spurs team, Brian, famously hadn't played any playoff games together before the playoffs began. Now they've played 22 games as of tonight. That's basically a quarter of a season. So that's a lot of basketball. They're learning. The great's great. The bad cost them tonight. Are they able to rebound from this moment and make this a series that gets back to New York?
Well, yes, of course they can win Game 5. I'm very hesitant to say anything what's going to happen in this series because it's you could have
look at tonight.
You could have egg all over your face. There was youthful mistakes made everywhere, including by Mitch Johnson tonight. He plays Wembanyama 43 minutes. They're big. They're ahead way big, and he's not resting him. And it came back to haunt him because Wemby had nothing left at the end of the game. So Mitch Johnson is going to look at this tonight and be upset. Wembanyama is going to look at this tonight and be upset. Their most veteran player, De'Aaron Fox, is going to look at this, I'm afraid, for decades and be upset. They are not over. There is always time in the NBA.
Yep.
But they've really put themselves in a difficult position.
58-30 second half. There's no context for this. This is the one and only that we've seen in the NBA Finals. We'll see if we are back here in New York for a Game 6. Game 5, of course, is Saturday night.